All right, welcome everybody to the virtual Monday lunch on August 31st. We've got Mike Bolner with us from Bolner's Fiesta Spices. Before we get to him, we're going to have a update from our president, Bill Hill. Bill, how you doing?
Howdy, Logan. It's a great day here in South Texas. Another 100-degree weather, and we're pushing on September. But it is what it is. So I'm going to give an update. We've asked our executive director, Mark Osborne, to help us out with that a little bit today. So as we go through some of the key events, he's going to highlight some of those as we move forward. As I traditionally do, I wanted to highlight the capital campaign. We currently have $1,094,850 in our capital campaign, either donated or pledged. On top of that, we have a matching grant from the Mays Family Foundation, which will help us reach our goal of $1.6 million. That number I gave you, $1,094,850, is an increase of $1,400 from last week. So not a huge increase, but every single week we're pushing forward and we're increasing that. And we're really excited about our campaign, but more importantly, we're looking forward to get started to our renovation and expansion project. Look, I mentioned Aggie Park was open for business at a 50% capacity. I've asked Mark to come and kind of share what that means for some of you that may not know. Mark, can you explain that a little bit in light of the COVID-19?
Sure. Howdy, everyone. So Aggie Park is open, and following all state and local guidelines, we can operate at 50% capacity. We're being careful and looking at every event that comes to us on a case-by-case basis. We want to make sure that the customer can host a fun and safe event following all the rules and guidelines, and that we can safely prevent the spread of COVID-19 and any other germs. So things are a little slow right now, but again, we are open. Aggie Park's a great place for corporate trainings. We've got a lot of tables and chairs. We can social distance you, and we're looking for to help people out right now in this time that do need to gather. Although the mayor and county judge do have recommendations on no gatherings of certain sizes, that it's difficult to not gather at all for some cases. So we are open at 50%. Again, following all CDC guidelines. We're doing temperature checks, all the hand sanitizer stations, and we're ready for you to host a safe and fun event. Give us a call. Be glad to go over all the guidelines with you and see if we can make it happen.
Well, thanks, Mark. And speaking of Aggie Park, okay, we haven't met for Monday lunch since the second week in March. The executive board will be tackling that as a discussion point on Tuesday, and then the overall board of directors next Tuesday. Again, we're trying to balance what we can do and what we should do. And even when we open up Aggie Park, we realize that we're going to have to continue some sort of program like this where we're video live streaming for those folks that want to participate, but they can't. Okay, real briefly, Mark, talk to me about Coaches Night. We've had some updates since last week, and if you can briefly go over that.
Yes, so I have been in contact with the Association of Former Students and some of the other clubs, Big Six clubs here in Texas. So we are working on virtual Coaches Night. I had a couple of meetings last week, and we are looking to put together a program that will be out in the next 3 weeks. So there's still a lot of work to be done to get all of the recording and features prepared for that, but more information to come as soon as possible, hopefully by the end of this week.
Okay, well, folks, hopefully we'll have something more to share with you next week. Hey, look, I want to go back to a great event we had last week, which was the Aggie Family Barbecue. It was non-traditional, just like everything in 2020. And in some cases, just like 2020, it has far exceeded what we normally do in our normal events. Aggie Muster was bigger and better. Some of our Monday lunches are attended with more folks. And the Aggie Family Barbecue was no exception. We served over 850 plates. We prepared, I think it was 897 chickens. So There you go. But I wanted to give a shout out to the Aggie Women's Club. Now, we served 850 plates, and each one of those plates had homemade potato salad. And the Aggie Women's Club came to Aggie Park that Friday before. They boiled the potatoes. They have a secret recipe. There were 12 great volunteers that worked hours and hours at no end, and they produced 400 pounds of potato salad. And if you had a chance to taste those potato salad, I'm going to tell you, it was a heck of a lot better than you can get at H-E-B or Bill Miller. It was fantastic, and I loved it. So thank you, Aggie Women's Club. You're such a great partner to the Aggie Park with the San Antonio A&M Club. You're a fantastic organization, and thank you once again for coming through. That was fantastic. Okay, I'm going to shift fires here real quick to Fiesta Medals. It's a fundraiser we had. It typically corresponds with March, the Fiesta Parade, and we have the band and Parsons Mountain Cavalry come in and everybody, and we do that during the Battle of the Flowers Parade. But that was canceled, obviously, this year, and but we have them, and they're in at Aggie Park. We're taking orders, and we're actually shipping them. There's a small cost to ship, but go to aggiepark.com. You can get the details there. Order your collector's items. You know, anything from 2020 associated with this is going to be a collector's item in the future. Hey, I'm going to shift fires real quick to the golf tournament. The next big event we have is on September 10th. And that's a Thursday at the Canyon Springs Golf Course. Mark, can you give us a quick update on anything that you might be changed this year?
Sure. So yes, golf tournament is going to be here very soon, and it's turning out to be our biggest ever. We have 116 golfers signed up, so we're really excited to see our members and Aggies come out for a fun day of social distancing and fun on the golf course. Anne Marie's, Ruben Luna with Anne Marie's has donated complimentary box lunches for the event, so we will have lunch donated this year, and we will have a barbecue dinner as well at the end of the event. And you could take that to go, and we're still looking at options for a safe sit down outside if you want to stick around to eat that meal. We also still have $10 raffle tickets for sale, staycation, JW Marriott, and a round of golf for $4. So if you haven't signed up yet, now's your chance. It's going to be a great day, a lot of fun. And one additional thing that we added is a fun activity on the driving range. You can come out and take a chance to hit the longhorn. We're going to have a cutout of a longhorn on the driving range, and you can pay $10 for a chance to win a prize if you do hit it. It's going to be a metal cutout. Nice to hear the ping, and you win a prize. So that's the update that I have on golf tournament.
Hey, with so many golfers, when do we actually tee off, because it's going to be a shotgun start, and when do we check in? Because we got to get there a little bit early, folks, to make sure that we get it all set up. Otherwise, with that many golfers, it could complicate things.
So we ask that you show up for registration by noon. If you're a little late, that's okay, because the shotgun start is at 1:30, but noon is the requested time. And if you'd like to show up a little bit before that, we're going to be out there. So get ready for a 1:30 start time for a lot of fun.
So the good news, you get there early, you get registered, you putt, you hit the longhorn, but you can have a lunch, a box lunch, and that's the first time we've done that. Okay, let's see. Sporting Clays is Friday, October 30th, Mark.
Yes, our annual Sporting Clays tournament is coming up. At this point, nothing has changed. It is an outdoor event. It's going to be held at the San Antonio Gun Club. Registration is open. It's on our website at aggiepark.com. So the earliest time, I think, for a team to shoot is 11 o'clock, but there's more details on our website, and you do have different options for shooting time. So we're looking forward to hosting that fundraiser this year. Again, it's outside, so we don't expect any changes. Looking forward to another fun gathering and safe gathering.
Okay, well, I'm going to close it out by just saying applications are now available to serve on the San Antonio A&M Club Board of Directors for next year. And we're going to need at least three directors. So if you are somebody that is motivated to serve and to serve with Aggies, for Aggies, and just be hanging around Aggies, I'm telling you what, it's a ball. And just like Aggie Family Barbecue, funnest thing I've done all year. I would encourage you to consider signing up for the board of directors. Okay, that's my update. I don't know if I missed anything, but I'll turn it over to Logan.
All right, thanks, Bill. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate the update. All right, we've got with us today our guest, Mike Bolner, class of 1973. He is the VP of Sales and Marketing for Bolner's Fiesta products. They are headquartered in San Antonio and sell their products in all 50 states, Mexico, and in Europe. Mike and his wife, Mary Pat, have 3 children, Jeff Bolner, class of 04, Elizabeth Bolner, class of 09, and Emily Bolner, along with 4 grandchildren. Mike is currently active at the San Antonio A&M Endowment Committee, the Whitty Museum past chair, and is San Antonio Area Foundation Board of Finance and Audit Committee. His past affiliations are with the Children's Habilitation Center, San Antonio Youth Orchestra, Institute of Food Technologists, and the Archdiocese of San Antonio. Mike, how you doing today?
I'm just fine, Logan. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks for being on today. So if you could tell us a little bit about your involvement with the Aggie Park Committee, Aggie Park Endowment Committee.
Well, the Aggie Park Endowment Committee, there's 3 things going on down there, and we do 2 of the 3 things. We do the Aggie Park Endowment Fund. It's like $1.27 million now to keep the park going, park expenses and whatnot. We watch those funds, and then the scholarship account is about $585,000, something like that, give or take. We watch that also. And we have bi-monthly meetings. We go through the things. We rebalance when we need to rebalance. We had the market go down. The market's back up again. So we watch that stuff, try to keep everything in line. So
you're the VP of Sales at Bolner's Fiesta Products, and it's a company that's been around since 1955. Great benefactors to the San Antonio A&M Club, along with a lot of other organizations. Tell us a little bit about, if you could, how the Bolner Fiesta Products was founded.
Well, my dad, Cliff, who's now 92, he doesn't come to the office every day, but he keeps up. He looks at the mail and looks at the invoices and the bank statements, and he likes to ask the questions you don't want to answer. Like, well, what are y'all doing about? Well, it's on my desk. I'm working on it, kind of stuff. So, but he's real proud of the fact. He says he graduated, got commissioned, and got married the same week. That was mid-January 1948, all 3 in 1 week. So a year later, he had his first kid, my older brother, Tim, and then I came along in October of 51, and they kept coming. He had 3 boys and 4 girls total. He started his career at the Bolner Meat Market out on South Flores here in town. They're still out there. And as his family grew, he really needed his own business. So he got with his buddies at Frost Bank. They looked at a couple of companies. He bought the spice plant. Here it is. And now there's 3 generations. He's the first one. The 3 brothers are there, and he has 4 of his grandchildren, or actually 5 of his grandchildren there now. We had a gentleman that just graduated from A&M, and in the last January. So here he is. He's been working 6 or 7 months down there. So we're real happy about that. Anyway, so the rest is history. He's got the whole family there, so we're still going strong. The current business situation with the COVID is everybody's got different issues. Well, we have retail products and we have food service products. Well, of course, food service took a dive. Retail products jumped up. Everybody's cooking at home now, so instead of at school or at work or somewhere else. So it's the same tonnage of spice, but instead of making a 1 pound bottle, you're making a 2 ounce bottle. So you have to have a lot more production time to get all this stuff going. So that's been the challenge we've been facing, but we're keeping up with it. So we'll see. Time will tell.
Now, do y'all, your products, do y'all import them from all over, or do y'all source locally? Or
Well, it's interesting. 40% of what we sell is domestic. And most of that is dehydrated garlic, dehydrated onions. A lot of chili powder is grown in California and New Mexico. And then a lot of the other stuff, black pepper, comes from 3 different places: Vietnam, Brazil, and India. Cinnamon sticks come from 2 or 3 different places. It's all over the world. So 60% is actually imported. And so that's always a function of the ocean freight and the docks getting stuff unloaded and getting on a train, get to San Antonio, the freeways back and forth, the Panama Canal, the bigger Panama Canal they just reopened. those sort of things. So there's a big logistics to get the stuff here. But once it's here, we have to process it. We have to clean it, be sure it's clean, fumigate it, sterilize it, grind it, blend it, package it, and distribute it. We do that a lot of our building here in San Antonio. We got 3 buildings in downtown San Antonio that all happens at.
You mentioned some of your family members. Who in the family is working there? How many family members y'all have working there?
Well, Dad is still on the payroll, so that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And my brother Tim and brother Chris are there. And then my son Jeffrey, who finished A&M as an engineer. I have a nephew, Greg, who finished at Texas Tech as an engineer. And those 2 guys run the plant. They keep all the operations going. My daughter Elizabeth does all our social media. And then my nephew, Chris Harness, lives in Louisiana. He works all the Southeast for us out of over there. And my youngest nephew we talked about earlier, he works in the plant, keep the lines running. He's learning that part of the business. So a lot of
what's y'all's most popular product?
It depends how you count. If you say fajita seasoning, that's number 1, but there's 5 flavors and 4 sizes of each. So the tonnage is number 1. Each individual item is not in the top 25. But then you have an item like cinnamon sticks. I make 2 sizes, and both those things are in the top 10. Cinnamon sticks in South Texas, when you think about South Texas. And so Menudo Mix is also the single individual top selling spice blend, Menudo Mix, as far as units go. So it depends how you count. So it's a tricky question.
Who's Uncle Chris?
That's
Uncle Chris steak seasoning.
That's the youngest, he's the 6th child in the family. And there is a Chris down there. Uncle Chris is down there. And he shows up on Facebook every now and then doing something. So it's interesting. I was in the store with him. We were cleaning the racks up, and this lady was shopping. And I said, that's Uncle Chris right there. She said, oh my God, it's like a celebrity. So he had to sign the bottle and all this stuff. So he signed 3 bottles for her actually. So, but that's my younger brother, Chris.
I think I used that one as much as the fajita seasoning, Uncle Chris's steak seasoning. That's good stuff.
Buy more.
Well, so y'all bring in products from all around the world, and you've talked with us many times about your love of travel, and so how did you where did your love of travel and photography come from, and how did that happen? And I know you've got something you want to show us, a recent trip. So
yeah, well, the photography started way back in grade school. I watched my grandfather take pictures of all the family things. He had his camera all the time, take pictures and stuff. And my dad tried to do it, but with 4 kids and 5 kids and 6 kids, he couldn't do it. So I guess I took over the family photography. So I got the boxes. I got the boxes of slides. I've sent them out, got them all made into digital. So we have all the family history from 1960 when I started doing it. 60, I guess it was 5th grade or something. And so I did that. And then as we would travel, I would document the travel. I always had fun with that, the beach with the family and whatnot. We'd go up the hunting lease and, we shot a few deer along the way. But after we got one of each on the wall, I started taking pictures of them. So my grandfather would go up there and he'd line them out, take the picture of them. We'd document that stuff. So that's kind of how I got into that part of it. And then, of course, when you travel, you read brochures and books about places, and there's pictures of stuff there. You look at those, and some pretty good pictures in there. So I started learning how to take pictures, basically get the colors right, the framing right, the zooms right, and you end up taking a lot of pictures. The ones I'm going to show you about 60 slides here, and that's 60 out of about 5,000 pictures, maybe 6,000 that we took down in the Galapagos Islands and Antarctica. So it'll be fun to share those with you, see what y'all think about them.
Well, I look forward to seeing it. Is that a picture? The picture you got in your background, is that one from the Galapagos Islands?
Yes, it is. Galapagos means giant tortoise. Well, what does that rock look like out there?
It's like a big turtle.
So we're on the beach in St. Genevieve Island. We're on the beach, and of course, this is a telephoto picture. It's way out on the horizon, but there it is. And so that's a turtle. It's a giant tortoise. So there you go. It's indicative of what the Galapagos looks like. So that's what it is. So very good. We were actually down there. We returned from Ecuador on March 16th. Okay. So the COVID is starting up as we're leaving, and we hear about it, and you wear a mask, you take your stuff, and we're on a catamaran, a National Geographic catamaran with like 40 people. And everybody's kind of talking about it some, but out in the middle of the ocean out there, you don't get much internet. You know, you don't get news. You don't get a whole lot of stuff. So people get bits and pieces. So we're talking about stuff. And as the week progresses, you know, there's 3-hour lines of people in the Chicago airport to get off the planes. And there's a 2-hour line in Los Angeles to get off planes. We're hearing this stuff, but we don't really know. So we actually left Guayaquil, Ecuador on March 16th to fly back through Dallas, back to San Antonio. We left down there, got to Dallas. There was not one person taking a temperature, not one person asking where you've been, not one person saying anything about anything. You give me your fingerprints on the TSA, on the customs and immigration, right through. No questions asked. It was 2 days later, I guess they stopped everything. On March 18th, they stopped everything. So we got back just in time. So nonstop fun.
Yeah, another week, and I think the world we were in the middle of the pandemic about a week later.
That's right, exactly right. So let me show you some pictures. Ready?
Let's see them.
Let me get my screen up here.
Hey, Bill, Mark, have y'all been to the Galapagos Islands before?
I have not.
No.
Neither have I.
No, Mark, I haven't. I'm looking forward to the pictures, and maybe I'm going to put it on my to-do list here.
It's a good place to go. I've actually been there twice, and we were there 6 years ago, I guess, and then again this past year or so. It was a great trip. There's 13 islands down there, and then we did about 6 of them the time before, and with one common island and 4 different ones this time. So, but it's just
do they have a lot of markers from like when Charles Darwin was there and where he was and what he did?
I have a few about Darwin. He's interesting. He was 26 years old when he went down there. He was only there for 5 weeks. He was there only 5 weeks. And those 5 weeks, he went to 9 islands, I think. And there's really only 2 islands that had inhabitants because there's only 2 islands with fresh water. The other ones have no fresh water available. So the birds drink the ocean, I guess. I don't know what they do. However they survive. But he was there only for 6 weeks or 5 weeks, and off he went. It's just fascinating how he learned all that down there. The interesting thing is that these animals, they call them anthropologically naive. That means that they don't even acknowledge that you exist. You can, you walk around here, a bird will look at you, a dog will look at you. Down there, these animals don't even look at you. You could be 2 feet from them and they don't look at you. It's like you don't exist. It's the most unusual thing.
Wow.
And it's just, it's phenomenal how they've survived these years. Animals, if your needs are met, you don't leave. And each island, the animals in each island, there's different species of the same thing on a different island. They never intermix. There's no reason to leave one to go to the other because you're met. It's fascinating, unbelievable. It really is. The history is very interesting down there. 1535 is the first mention of the islands in literature. And the Bishop of Panama was down there. He went down there to talk to the pirates that were causing trouble. He was trying to get these guys to behave a little bit. And so there's some writings about him in 1535. That's the first time they're really mentioned. And, he was down there and hit the doldrums and hit the islands. He was trying to get to Peru and bumped into these places. So he was talking about how strangely naive the wildlife was. Well, it's still that way 300 years later. So it's unbelievable. But it's worth going down to. It really is. It's quite amazing. So it is a national park. Ecuador controls who goes in. You pay a fee. And I believe there's 14 cruise ships. By a cruise ship, that's a boat that's 50 or more. You can only be between 50 and 100. Bigger than 100, you can't go down there. You can't get off the boats. So between 50 and 100, there's 14 of those. Actually, when we got off the boat at the end, they were all in one harbor because they all had to leave. Everybody had to leave that weekend. So first time they'd all been in one spot. But you never see the other boats because they route them around. So you're never very crowded. Some days you're restricted, you can't scuba dive. Some days you're restricted, you can't kayak. Some days you're restricted to the Zodiacs. It just depends on where you are and what your itinerary is. These things are laid out a year ahead of time by the Ecuadorian government, and that's how they run their national park.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, you've got some pictures you want to show us of.
I do. Turn my screen share on. I will put them
All right,
on.
let's check it out.
Host is disabled screen sharing. Who's my host?
Oh, do I have to enable something here?
Yeah, screen sharing. Still disabled.
Let's see. Multiple. All right. Are you good now? All right. Sorry about that.
All right. Get my pictures up. Can we see that picture?
Yes. There you
Okay.
go.
Well, there's the Galapagos Islands. And the island of Santa Cruz in the middle has the most water of anybody. And also there's an international airport there that was built by the U.S. federal government. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So there they are. It's all volcanic rock. It's all volcanic. Now this picture is Antarctica, so don't worry about it too much. But the point is to have your camera ready. So I'm sitting here, everybody's lined up, take a picture of this whale, except the guy up here, you see him the wrong way up here?
Mm-hmm.
Changed the lens on his camera. Didn't have his camera ready, did he? So he missed out on that deal. So always have your camera ready because you never know what you're going to see. All right, so when I was in college, they didn't teach me that if you go from Dallas south, you miss South America. I didn't know that. But if you go from New Orleans south, you hit the Galapagos Islands, you still miss South America. You got to go from Miami to hit South America. But you can see the Panama Canal there, and that's why the federal government built an Air Force base to protect the Panama Canal during World War II. That's what they did it for. So there you go. Remember also that Captain Cook, who went around the world twice for the British, he never found the Galapagos Islands. He sailed right past them. The Spanish got them, so that's why it's part of Ecuador. But if you go straight south from Louisiana, you hit the Galapagos Islands. There you are. So as soon as you get off the airplane, the first thing you see is the iguana. You think this is a Disney audio animatronic thing. They're right there at the airport. They're there, right there. So you walk across the tarmac, and there's where you get the boat. So you got your life jackets on, you get in the boat. So you get on the ship, and you sail about 15 minutes, and the first thing you see is this. The first beach you get to is the sea lion family. And this is 15 minutes to the airport across about half a mile of water, and you're on the beach. There you are. They're right there. And they don't care that you're there. They're just happy to have you, happy to pose for you, I guess. But there you are.
Mike, are those beaches are all volcanic rock? Is that what that
all
is?
Volcanic rock, yes. They're all black, well, not all black, but volcanic rock, yes. Now, so there's some coral. They do have some coral, but there's really no sand down there. The water's deep. There's three currents that come together right there in the Galapagos. It's the Humboldt currents, the South Atlantic currents, and the Panama current. The three South Equatorian, Humboldt, and Panama. Those three currents converge. That's why the wildlife here is so diverse. There's three different kinds of water: cool water, warm water, and hot water, or relatively speaking, but there's degree differences. So you can be snorkeling and you can look down, the bottom layer of water, you see a hammerhead shark swimming. The top layer, you see sea lion swimming. The middle, you see iguana swimming, all within 100 feet. It's just unbelievable. It's just the way it works down there. Anyway, there's your little sea lion family. You turn around, here's the rest of the beach. There's hundreds of these things, hundreds of sea lions everywhere, and they don't care that you're there. People taking pictures, walking around. You get in the water over here, they're swimming with you. Doesn't matter at all. They're just constantly in motion. So these guys now, we're gonna have a quiz here. We want to know which of these sea lions is gonna have the most luck tonight. Let's see which guy gets lucky. Is this guy gonna get lucky? Let's see what happens here. So he comes up here, and here's his girlfriend. Up, there she is. All right. So gives her a hug there, you know, and a little back rub here, you know, smooch around a little bit. So they're there. They don't bother anybody else. They're just over here on the side. Looks like loading at the drive-in movie when he was in high school. So this guy, he's having a good time with his girlfriend, right? I guess, or his wife, or something. All right, so this guy over here shows up. So let's see how he does. Let's go step on the kids here. Yeah, let's don't knock the kids out of the way.
Looks
No,
like
I don't think
looks
so.
like he forgot to cut the grass
He's
last.
gonna leave the other way.
Getting yelled at.
This is the kind of stuff you see. So we're taking bets on who's gonna be lucky tonight. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so the night gets here and we come ashore, and this is what you see on shore. There's 1,000 of these things. They go as far as you can see in the background over there. They're just laying there. They've been in the water all day eating. I guess they're going to sleep now. They're going to take a rest. So, but we're talking 1,000 of these things on the beach in San Cristobal. They're right there. You want to catch the bus? Can't sit on that bench. Want to climb the stairs? Can't get out of the water. These things are every place. This guy's he's up for early breakfast. They're cleaning the fish there. He's waiting for a snack for breakfast, I guess. So, you know, they just they do what they do. All right, now about having your camera ready. This pelican, this was about 6 feet from me with a wide-angle lens. So I cropped it a bit, but this guy, there was a fish in the water he wanted. He hit the water, missed the fish. Obviously, he's taken off again. But this was 5 feet from me. I mean, you're not there. You don't exist. You don't exist. All right, one of our favorite topics now. This is the boobies. We're going to talk about boobies now. All right, there's 3 varieties of boobies that live down in the Galapagos Islands. This is a blue-footed booby. You can see him there. You might have seen these guys. They do a little dance. They kind of move their feet and kind of do a little dance. But these are the blue-footed boobies. And there's 2 other kinds. There's a red-footed and a brown-footed. We'll see those as we go through here. But the blue-footed boobies are there. And I guess these are a male and a female. And I guess we're going to see how things are going to go. They're chatting here. So this is the red-footed guy. The difference with the red-footed guy, his feet can curl over a branch like a bird can. The blue-footed is flat-footed. He cannot hold onto a tree branch. He has to walk on the ground. This guy can move his feet around. So the red-footed booby. This guy is what they call a magnificent frigate bird. There's a great frigate bird and a magnificent frigate bird. Well, this guy, he has his red chest there, and this is, I guess his girlfriend's there, and one of his babies are there. There's a little baby was right outside his nest. Wow. So they're right there. But what these guys do when the females fly by, they puff their chests out looking for a girlfriend. So this is what they do. They puff their chest out. Now around here, we're like skinny guys. Well, they're like the daddy guys, you know, with the big guts, I guess. But you know, they puff their chests out. They're trying to attract females. Is what they do. Now the point about having your camera ready is this is what you can get. If you have your camera ready, you got to have it ready though. You can't, because they fly by. This guy is probably 15 feet from me, maybe. So I'm probably around panning trying to keep this guy on the picture here. So there he is. So you got that guy. Now if you keep clicking away, you get a couple of females, and you get one male at the bottom there with the moon in the background. You keep clicking away and you get this one with the moon, the clouds, and the magnificent frigate bird. So that's more of patience. That picture is more of patience. You got to wait for that guy to come by. Take lots of pictures to get it, but there you go. I think that's a pretty good picture. Now, this guy, these 2 birds, we're walking down this trail, and the camera's at the side, on my side. We walk past you guys. They don't move out of your way. You walk past them. So this is right next to my foot. The guy with the beak, the blue beak, he's going to take the fish. He's stealing the fish from the white bird. He's stealing the fish. This went on for 5 seconds. There's the fish on the ground. He got it out. You just never know what you're going to see. Unbelievable. Now our friends, the iguanas. These guys they're every place. Yeah, you've seen iguanas. You go to Mexico, there's iguanas on the beach. You go to the Caribbean, there's iguanas every place. But this is like the home of the iguanas. There's 3 kinds of iguanas that live here. And these guys are just as ugly as they can be, and they're as big as they can be. These guys can be up to 3 feet long. Most of them are 2.5, but this guy was 3 feet long, a big one. There's their hands. They're vicious. They grab stuff. They can climb trees. They can tear things apart. If something's dead on the beach, they can rip it apart and snack on it. So they're tough. This guy, it looks like he's ordered a beer at a bar, I guess. He looks thirsty. I don't know, but they actually live in the water. They come out on the land to warm up in the sun, and they go back in the water again. Now these guys go to the middle grade of they don't stay on top or the bottom. They stay in the middle. That's the temperature they like, is the Humboldt current right in the middle.
And those are the only iguanas in the world that live in the water.
I think iguanas tend to live in the water. They can live both ways, but these live in the water. So I don't know. They eat in the water and they mate in the water. So I guess they live in the water. That's the most two important things you got, I guess, besides warming yourself. This guy looks like a school teacher tapping his finger, trying to figure out what about these poor performing students over here. Some Aggie over here is misbehaving or something, but there he was, or there she was maybe. They disappear in the trees. They live in trees. I didn't know that. They're there on the trees. We walk by and this guy says, look up. And there they are. There's 50 of those guys in the trees up there. So you just don't know what you're going to get. This is like teenagers at a beer bar, I guess, or something. They're just, these guys are laying all over each other, having a party, it looks like. And they're sitting there, and the tide had come out, a few waves splashed on them. So they're waiting to dry out again. So there you go, the iguanas. These cactus are actually like 3 feet tall. They look like they'd be scrub cactus. They're like 3 feet tall, this thing. So it's a big plant. There's quite a few of these around. You can see them in the background back there. And this one island is the only place they are. It's the only place they are down here. No, the seeds never blew across. A bird never took the seed across because they don't leave. Everybody stays here. So these cactus are the only ones that are they're right there. So you got them. So everybody saw The Master and Commander, the movie with Russell Crowe when they were down in the Galapagos and the French were chasing them. The guy was trying to document this bird, the flightless cormorants. And at the end, he says, well, they don't fly. They'll still be here when they left. But you don't want to argue with these guys. You know, they're really very interesting birds, but they don't fly. This frigate bird happened to get too close to this one. He pecked him. He didn't like him. So you just got to be careful. But again, you take your camera, you never know what you're going to be able to take a picture of. So, but you got to be quick. It happens. So, all right, now Ecuador, Galapagos Islands are right on the equator. So here's 0, 0, 0, 0 south. So that's right smack smack on the equator. So we actually crossed the equator several times going back and forth. But I want to take the picture of that to have it. And of course, when you can get a bird flying by, a frigate bird flying by the sunset on the equator with the curve of the earth in the background, that's pretty good. Now you got to remember, you know, that red line on the equator, when you're on a boat, you got to speed up to bump over it because it's there. You got to be able to get over that thing. So we managed to survive it, but and keep the picture from being blurred. But
did you try to flush the toilet on both sides of the equator just to see which way it would go?
Well, you know, we did that. We actually did that in Argentina before this trip. It was across the equator up there, or before the Antarctic trip, I guess it was. It doesn't make any difference when you're there close. When either way you are, you spin the bucket one or the other. The water's going to slosh on the equator, whichever way you do it. So the kids on the beach want to show you how to do it for $5, and it's all a trick. It's all a trick. All right, this guy. This is an interesting picture because he is a Galapagos hawk. There's only about 300 of them on this island, and they hardly ever are sitting in a tree. They're always flying and eating and attacking and going to their nests. So they hardly ever sit in a tree. So we're walking by, and you look up, and that guy's sitting right there. He was gone 2 seconds later. He was gone, but there he was. So we got lucky on that guy. You just never know. This is interesting. This is a sea coral, and this was underwater 60 years ago. This entire island tilted 60 years ago. And so this popped up, and it's not just a little piece, it's a big piece of coral. It's not a little piece of coral, it's a big piece of coral, but that was underwater 60 years ago. That's how the land changes down there. Now, we all have been to the San Antonio Zoo and looked at the flamingos all sitting there in the cage, right? Well, here's a flamingo flying we caught. The rest of them were sitting there eating, but this one took off flying. So there's a flamingo. I've never seen a flamingo fly, and there he is. Probably never see one again, but there he was. We were there for 30 minutes waiting to see what they were going to do, and he took off. So that's more of a patience than a have your camera ready. But that afternoon, we're going by, and this crane walks by these 2 sea lions, and they don't like him. They didn't like him, and he moved around. They followed him and kept barking at him, and he finally took off. He had enough of the sea lions. But these 2 sea lions did not want that bird there. I guess he was going to eat some of their food. I don't know, but he took off. So there you go. So you all have been to Port Aransas, and you have the oil tankers coming in, the dolphins playing in front of the oil tankers. Well, the same thing here. They have tankers, but there they are. You got the dolphins playing. And so you have that going on. So you never know what you're going to see. This is Pinnacle Rock. There might be a geologist in the club here that can explain how this thing ended up here. It's part of a geology, a volcano, something was left here. They call it Pinnacle Rock, and there it is. That thing's probably 50 feet tall, but it's hard. Nobody on my boat could explain why it was there like that. It just had to be an up shot of some kind of special lava that maintained it. Everything else washed away around except that. So maybe somebody can call in and tell us what that's about. I don't know. The green sea turtle live in the water. They mate on land, leave their eggs, and they come back in. They do this at Port Aransas, the ribby turtle, same kind of thing. The story here is we're in one of those kayaks, one of those Zodiacs, and we're going to do what they call a deep water dive. Well, deep water dive means it's over your head, 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet. So everybody jumps out of the boat. My wife jumps off, or my partner. I jump off and I stop ankle deep. Well, I landed on one of these guys. Of course, being surprised, you flip over backwards, you drink half the Atlantic, the Pacific Ocean there, you know, but you never know. But this was unusual because it wasn't the same one, but somebody else, another one of these turtles started there in the middle. You can see this middle in here. He went around inside, came around outside, back inside, back outside about 4 times looking for something, a nest or a girlfriend or something. But this is, they said it was very unusual to see that much track apparently by one sea turtle at one time. So then we talk about the Galapagos, and of course, Galapagos means giant tortoise. And these guys, the whalers and the English guys looking for the tea over in China, all these guys, they found out they could stack these sea tortoises up on their boat upside down, stack them up, and they would live for a year without being fed or watered. So you'd have fresh meat for a year on your voyage. So that's the beginning of the demise of these giant tortoises. But this man, for some reason, he owned this ranch, and about 60 years ago, the tortoises invaded. They decided they wanted to live here. So he has the concession. You pay this guy to go see the tortoises. They're all on his property. He's got 600 on his property now. And there's the boys and the girls. The boys are up high, the girls are down low, and the water's a quarter mile away. All the guys got to go through the girls to get to the water. They have to come back up. So I guess that's how they grab their guys. I don't know, but anyway, these are big guys. On their shells, there's stripes in their shells, just like the circles on a tree. And you can know how old they are by counting the stripes on the shell. The problem is when you get over 80 or 85 years old, the shells buff off and you can't see the stripes anymore. So you don't know how old this guy is. He's over 80 years old.
Wow.
The problem with these guys is that if you're a millennial turtle looking for a girlfriend, you're not sexually mature until you're 40 years old. These guys got to wait 40 years to have fun. And so from 40 to 90, they have fun. And then after that, I don't know because they don't have very many to look at. But there they are. That's Mary Pat and I. But there's 6 tortoises in this picture, back in the back, and the back, and the back, and 1 on the side, and the 2 in the front. Those things, they're huge. They're big. Now, this guy did get lucky. He managed to get lucky here. So I think he was happy before the day was over. So I'm not sure how often this happens, but he didn't, his shell wasn't rubbed off yet. So he's under 90 years old. So
Looks like one of those young teenagers, 50, 55 years old.
Might be. So there he is. So he got lucky. All right, now this is the third one. This is the brown-footed booby. So these guys were on another island. We went to see them. And they're not quite as pretty as the red and the blue-footed ones, but they're there. And they live in trees. These guys are in the trees. You see them here? So notice the guy with the white hat and the black shirt here. He's going to show up here in a minute again. So here's the bird, okay? Now this next picture I did not take, but I was told to stand still. Now there's me in that picture with my camera, my blue shirt, and there's the guy with the black shirt right behind me, and that's the bird's eye. And the guy said, just don't move, stand there. So I stood there and took the picture. He gave me the picture. So I didn't take it, but it's kind of a fun picture. I guess those guys, they keep their eye on you pretty good, it looks like. So it's kind of fun. This is interesting. This is a post office box on the Fernandina Island. And there's been a post office box here since the 1780s. The whalers and the lumber people that used to come in this area to harvest the wood and to harvest the animals in the water, They wouldn't go back home for 3 years, 4 years. So there were several of these set up. This is the one that survived. You leave a letter there. The next guy comes and goes through the letters and finds something for his hometown. He takes it back. It may take 4 years to get back, but it'll get back eventually. And you're supposed to hand deliver it to the person it's addressed to. So I'm there. I was there on March 8th. I'm sorry, March 12th. This lady left this letter on March 10th, 2 days before. So I go through, I find it. This lady, and it's addressed to this lady in Littleton, Colorado, which is in Denver. Hi, Louise. I'm going to mail this to you and hope it gets to you. Cynthia. So I was going to Denver on business in May. So I look up this lady's address, and it's right by one of the Walmart stores I'm going to. And so I knock on her door and give it to her. She's like, you know, with your you have to mask and everything. Knock on the door. And so she says, my friend Cynthia told me she did this, and here you are. And I said, well, here I am. So I left 2 in the box for my 2 grandkids, and one of them got delivered. A lady from Houston got it. And during the COVID, instead of hand delivery, she mailed it, and the other one hadn't come yet. So it's either still there or somebody has it waiting to bring it to San Antonio. But so this has been going on for a long, long time, but it's still there. There it is.
So if you want to leave a letter there, do you have to deliver one, or can you just?
No, you just leave it there.
Leave it there.
But what you do is you stand there with we had a group of 15 people, and you read all the letters, you read all the addresses off. And one guy somebody had been there from New York and left 5 letters. The guy was in his town, so he took all 5 back with him from our ship. And I took this one. Several people took several different ones. So that's just, but you say tradition, and you take the letter off, and you're supposed to hand deliver it. So
That's pretty cool.
there you go. So here's an iguana under a cactus bush. I just thought it was a cool picture with the sun, with the sky in the background. It was kind of a fun picture. So we got that. All right, this is my last video from the Galapagos. We're going to stop with this one and do a few other ones, but I didn't take this with my camera, but I helped set it up. The lady from the ship had her camera, so she said she could give me the video. So we sit there and set the camera up and sat this. This is over about an 8-minute period. So we have all these sea lions laying there by the beach, and let's just see who gets happy here, what happens. You just never know about these guys. Oh, here's Mr. Curious George here. Look at him. Oh, it comes a friend. Oh, he's real curious. So here we go. I remember this is a $2,000 Nikon camera lens setup we got on this tripod here. These guys. Oh, let's knock the camera over. Yeah, let's see. We don't need the camera. Oh, here comes the other guy. Ah, come on. Bonk. There we go. So what are you going to do? All right. Well, that was the end of the Galapagos. I have about 4 or 5 more here that might be fun. As we travel around, some of the things I've seen. To get 2 species in one picture, this is Antarctica. And we were in Antarctica in January about 4 years ago. And of course, it's summertime in Antarctica. So it's 40 degrees in the daytime and only like 25 at night. It's summertime. And so what you don't expect to see are icicles. These icebergs are out here and they get 40 degrees, they start dripping. There's 40-foot icicles out here on these things. But I like this picture because the bird, the seagull was flying by the penguins. And I thought to get 2 species in the same photo is kind of fun. It's hard to do. It don't happen very often. And you got the penguin that's bouncing around. Up on his face, the little stripe is called a chin strap penguin. There he is, right there, hopping down the bunny trail. And we all know that penguins don't live on the land, right? You all know they live in the ocean. They just go on land to mate. That's all they do. They live in the ocean. They swim in the ocean. They eat in the ocean. They sleep in the ocean. And you guys have to be jumping out of the water one time, so we thought that was worth taking a picture of. Now this is talk about having a camera ready. I'm sitting on the back of the boat in Antarctica with a lady, and this is like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm up early, and we look out, and this iceberg is going to flip over. It starts moving.
I haven't seen that before.
Look at this thing. Now this thing is probably 50 feet wide and 25, 30 feet tall. I know, icebergs are supposed to be a lot more underwater on top, but this one obviously was not that way. So here we go. This is going to be a 3-foot wave coming out of this thing.
We're gonna feel it.
And you see this, notice the ripples in the water. I'll tell you about those ripples in just a minute. So this thing goes back and forth, throwing the stuff out there. So our ship had pulled up to the beach for us to get off to go hiking that day. So as soon as the iceberg started moving, the boat started backing up. The captain said, I asked him that night, he says, no, we have a watch. We see something, we don't want to be on the beach. So he backed up instantly. As soon as the thing moved, he was backing up. So here we go. Look at that thing. Remember, that's 50 feet across. That's a big iceberg, ice cube.
Some bird land already got off balance, I guess.
That's kind of stuff you can see. And I think 2 people saw it besides the crew. Everybody else is asleep at 5 o'clock in the morning. So, anyway, so that's the iceberg. So now I'm in Churchill, Canada. Churchill, Canada is up on the southwest corner of Hudson Bay. And all you Aggies, we all know that Hudson Bay is 75% as big as the Gulf of Mexico. We all know that, right? We studied geography. So what the polar bears do is the polar bears have to eat one seal a week, one seal per polar bear a week for about 6.5, 7 months. That way they can live for the other 5 months without having to eat. They don't eat people. They don't bother anybody. They go hibernate, have babies, and they're fine. You've seen the picture of these poor skinny polar bears? No, these polar bears are as fat as they've ever been the last 5 years. They've been fat and happy. Plenty of seals, plenty of ice. They've been happy. So these 2 guys, this is the mother and her 2-year-old cub. She kicks them out of the house after 2 years. They're gone, and she goes off and has some more. But we happened to be there, and there they were looking at us up in Churchill, Canada. So that was just a lot of fun. So how many people take their camera into the bathroom for a shower with them? Well, most people don't. Well, Mike did. The hotel we were at, these cabins had an outdoor bathroom. Everything was outdoors, your own personal bathroom. I look across the yard, and this is what I see. This is 50 yards from me. There's a creek there, and these elephants are having breakfast. How about that? You never know what you're going to see. So take your camera to the bathroom when you're in Africa. You never know.
I think the question is how many people have that view out of their bathroom?
Well, everybody at this hotel did. So
That's pretty neat.
all right. So then that afternoon we find the pink elephant. So the guides are with us, and they're thinking they hadn't seen this guy because they only come every week, and so they're thinking either he's brand new born or he's has a skin problem. They didn't know. So he's 2 days old, about 2 days old. And at 2 days, they're still not sure they have a trunk. They step on it and fall over sometimes. We didn't see that. We heard about it. But we sent some emails back a couple of weeks later and found that this was 2 months old. He was still pink out of mom's womb. He didn't have a skin condition. He was 2 days, I'm sorry, 2 days old out of mom. That's pretty amazing. It's amazing. How many times do you see a rhino nursing its baby? Now, I don't know how it works with the horn. I don't know, but the rhino's nursing the baby here. So we're driving around the corner, we see this, and of course, as soon as we come by, she gets up. But there he was. So that's another thing. Do have your camera ready. Of course, you see giraffes at the zoo. You know, from time you see them at the zoo, and that's fine. They're there. This is just in the wild. But later that night, we're driving with on a Jeep with some other people, and there's a guide sitting on the front. And he sees what they call a drag line. Well, a drag line is if an animal kills a smaller animal and drags it to eat it. They drag it off their lair, drag it off to wherever, to the bushes. And a drag line, they always go straight. They drag whatever they get, they take it straight across to where they're going. So if you know which way the drag line is, you know what's there. Well, guess who's at the end of the drag line? This guy. He's at the end of the drag line with the headlights of the Jeep. And he was gone in about half a second when the Jeep lights hit him, but I got the picture, so have your camera ready. Then you have the twin 3-year-old brothers. They're both 3 years old. The guys see these guys all the time. They watched them grow up. Now, they have a name for them. I forget the name, but they're taking care of themselves. You know, they're just having a good time here. We watched these guys for 2 days. There was a whole herd of Cape buffalo around the other side of this little hill. And if the buffalo moved, the lions would move, but they would always stay hidden. So the guides are telling us that these 2 3-year-old lions cannot take down a full-grown Cape buffalo by themselves. They can take down a baby, but they can't take down a full-grown. So they were waiting for a sick one or a baby one or something. We never saw the end of the story, but there they were. So you got that. So I'm in the Tetons, and here these guys are on the side of the road. Just come around the corner, there they are. So have a field day with these guys. They're just having a great time there. I guess the rut's starting. They're losing their fur, and off they go. I'm in Estes Park driving down the road, and our friendly coyote's on the side of the road taking a look at me. He's probably 20 feet away, maybe. He didn't stay long, but he was looking at me, which is great. We're in Yellowstone National Park. About 10 years ago, the quad mom, grizzly bear. You see the hump on the back? That's a grizzly bear. The 4 little ones. Well, we didn't know at the time. They didn't know at the time, but they were from the same father. 1 dad and 4 cubs. Very unusual. Very seldom happens. We're back in Yellowstone the next year. We talked to the rangers, and the mother and 3 of the cubs survived. The runt survived. One of the other ones didn't make it, but the baby, the runt back in the back, and 2 other ones, the mom, were there the next year, which was fantastic. So that was really a good thing to know. I'm going to end with this picture. This is one of my all-time favorites. This is the top of Rocky Mountain National Park. That's La Pudro Lake. And off to the right, through that brown valley, is the Colorado River. That's where the Colorado River starts, in this lake at the top of the mountain. That's where it starts. And my wife and I tried to go up there a couple of years ago, and we get to the gate, and the guy says, "Sorry, we're closed." What do you mean you're closed? We're closed for logging. We're logging. We can't come in. All right. So we leave. So 4 years later, I'm in Denver, and I decided I'm going to go back again. So I called the national park to see if they're open. To be sure, it's a 3-hour drive up there from Denver. So be sure they're open. And he says, "Well, that's not really us. That's the Roosevelt National Park, but that's nonetheless, you got to call them." So where I'm standing is in the national park. The animal and the lake is in the Roosevelt National Forest, but there's a moose over there. I don't know if you can see the moose. There's a moose back over here. I don't know if you can see this guy, but he was standing there waiting to see us. So that's my favorite wallpaper screen. The La Pudro Lake, source of the Grand Canyon, source of the Grand Canyon, really, the Colorado River. So that's it. So that's my story.
Wow, those are some great pictures, Mike.
Well, it's just a lot of fun. I've spent a lot of time doing it, and like I said, I'll take 1,000 pictures a day someplace, and you edit them at the camera. You knock off the ones you don't want right away, and but you don't need a good camera. My phone is the one that took the picture of the iceberg. What camera did it? Was an iPhone 5 back then or something, wherever it was. So, but that's good. So, any questions?
Hey, that was pretty neat. What'd y'all think, Mark, Bill?
Yeah, that was really great. Did you have a favorite animal, or when you went to Galapagos, did you have one instance that, really stuck with you? Just one particular experience that you really enjoyed?
Well, when I jumped out of the boat and landed on the turtle, that was one thing. But I think the giant tortoises are fantastic. Those things are unbelievable. They're there. We watched them fight. We watched them mate. We watched them walk around. Watched them walk fast, walk slow. Watched them eat. It was just to watch those guys is quite fantastic, and you just appreciate all the things that God puts on the earth for humans to go and enjoy. All this stuff, rainbows and snowbows, and all this stuff. For us to go and enjoy and learn about it. It's fantastic, and I thank him every day for that.
My only one question was, and those are wonderful pictures. What a great experience. Thanks for sharing them. I could actually kind of live through those pictures, just seeing them. Like I was really there, very crisp. But how far were those islands apart from each other? Because it just seems so odd that the birds wouldn't fly unless it's 50 or 70 miles apart or something. I don't know.
They're not that. You can see them. You can see the islands from each other. You can see the next one over. They're 5 miles away, maybe something like that. And
interesting.
But if your needs are met, your needs are met. It's so, because it's the only place they do this. The way the currents work and all things come in one side and out the other side, the way the animals eat the food chain between the water and the animals, it all works. As long as your needs are met, animals aren't going to go anyplace. And it's unbelievable.
Did y'all stay on on one of the islands when y'all were there?
No, we stayed on a cruise ship. It was a 40-passenger catamaran. National Geographic operates down there. And there are, the one where the airport is, there are hotels. There are some hotels. There's a city there. I think 12 or 14,000 people live there, I think, all the time. And then a lot of tourists come in. And there's not many private homes outside of that one area. And then up where the giant tortoise farm is, out that road, that's on that same main island. There's people living, but there's a water supply. There's only a small water supply on Genovese Island, and the rest of them have no water supply at all. It all comes from rain. There's no groundwater at all, so
Wow.
there's not many people.
Well, Mike, thanks for sharing with us about your company and about your travels, and we sure appreciate how much you volunteer your time and efforts for the San Antonio A&M Club and all that you do.
Well, I appreciate you, Logan and Bill, and the rest of the board. You know, to have $1.5 million over there that you've raised over time, that people are getting benefit of, that's just unbelievable. I mean, for the Aggie community in San Antonio to be able to do that is really fantastic. It really is. It's just amazing. I find it amazing.
Well, it takes a lot of we've got a lot of good members and a lot of good volunteers, so it's definitely a team effort.
I thank every one of them too.
You know, the thing I'm going to just add about the capital campaign, which is the means that we're going to achieve the funds for the expansion and the renovation project. You know, and it started out with a few core people who, frankly, the leadership of Aggie Park at the time, who had a vision for this improvement of that. And you had a board, and I was on it, and Logan was on it, and we kind of went through all that. And you had, right away, you had an upsurge of donations. And the Bolners were first and foremost amongst that and really set the stage for doing that. And so we're indebted for that, because talk about leading the way. You guys surely have, and we appreciate that. But what we see now is that we are just getting, I don't know how many we're up to, but hundreds and hundreds of people are donating, and some donate $25. A lot of them donate $100. And surprisingly, I've challenged everyone to donate at least $1,000. And there are numerous folks that don't even come to Aggie Park, but they may come for a muster or two where they used to grow up here or there, but they know the value of what the potential will be when this thing gets turned into from a great facility to even a better one. So anyway, thank you, Michael, and thank you for your family for all you've done in terms of the contributions to the endowment and as well as the capital campaign. So it's a pleasure.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you guys next week, and y'all take care.
Thank you.
All right, gig 'em.
Thanks again,
Yeah.
Mike.
Thank you.